Hi there, welcome. My name is Sandra, and this is Threadhead Said, a channel focused on all things stitchy, counter cross stitch, embroidery, sewing, quilting. Yeah. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by. I hope you find something inspiring or interesting, or at least maybe get a chuckle out of it. I want to start this morning with, I have my notes with my Tula Pink journal cover. Start with some finishes. I have some FFOs, and the first one is this Patriotic Parade, excuse me, from Shepherd's Bush. This was a pattern that they put out last needlework market, I believe. I bought it at Acorns and Threads. I am within driving distance of Acorns and Threads, and I have finished it a little bit differently than they had in the pattern. I put the button off to the side with the background on. The pattern came with a little button. So that is one of my patriotic pieces. I have many. So there's that one. My next finish, fully finish, is Tiny Town Seaside. I had everything done except for the crab eye beads and then the hanger. So I added the crab eye beads. I miscounted and added this little side garage here on this house with a buoy on, 2 buoys on it, which is very reminiscent or reflects completely what you'll see when you go to the coast. They have those little add-on storage with the buoy, so that's how I made up for it. And I put the hanger on the back. I used some grosgrain ribbon. I created a casing, just hand stitch it down, put a dowel rod and some jute. So now she is ready to hang. I had it originally thought I was going to put it in a drum as they featured on the pattern. I had this box, a Christmas box, and it looked really cool wrapped around here. And then I had some anchor fabric on the top, navy blue anchor fabric, and it looked really nice. But then I realized that I really don't have a place in my home to like sit this and enjoy it. So I got rid of that idea and decided to hang it. My shelves and tabletops and all of that are already pretty much covered, or it would get lost. So I just decided to make it a wall hanging. My next completely fully finished is Whale by Rovaris. And I put a border on it. I did some wavy stitches. I added batting and backing. I did some wavy stitches. I think you can see better from this side. But when light catches it, you can see it. It kind of complements the wave that's here. I did end up putting the charms that came with it pretty close to what they had, pretty much. I fiddled with it to see if I wanted the charm somewhere else, and it really didn't add anything, so I just kept it like it was. So I'm really happy with this. I did the same thing. I added some grosgrain ribbon, a dowel rod, and then some whitish jute. So this one I'll hang like this. The Tiny Town Seaside, I'm going to hang in a way that won't show the jute. So, all right. Those are my fully finished projects. I have some finished objects that are in progress of completing. And one of them is my eagle. This is a counter cross stitch eagle that came from Sambray Stitches Pacific Northwest sampler or something. It's got the Bigfoot on it. I showed it in my whip parade, I think. Anyway, I took the eagle out and made it the center of a sawtooth star. I used Material Girls flag pillow concept to do the star. I just sized it to fit this piece. I was originally going to make this a pillow and put a zipper in the bottom and put it back on it. I have decided not to make it a pillow because I don't want the counter cross stitch piece to get that much wear that a pillow would sitting on a couch or whatever. So I am going to go ahead and put the binding on it. I have several things to bind, so I have lots of navy binding. I'm just going to bind it and hang it as I did with these. The hanger for this one is from Ackfeld, Ackfeld. So I think I will get a hanger. They have them in all sizes, I think up to 16 inches. But I think I'll get one for this that has a star or something kind of in theme. So that is moving along, not quite fully finished, but moving along. My next, I'm trying not to say a lot, so I apologize if I do. June was the whole strawberry moon focus, people doing strawberry sals and all of that. So mine that I worked on was the strawberry jam, Mouse's strawberry jam. I finished it, I stitched it, and then I have several pieces done, and I'm going to make a summer wall hanging. So I used got my other stitches, the laundry, the 4th of July, and the going to the coast. Got these all done. I had also had the Easter one done, but I didn't want to do 5. I wanted to just keep this at 4. So I'll make this a wall hanging. Each piece has its own unique border around it, each with 3 pieces of fabric, but not necessarily the same size. And that was really dictated by what pieces of fabric I had, what size they were. Oh, I've got a little of this, a little of that. So it's totally scrap busting. So this is going to get quilted hopefully this month. And then I will just do the Easter one as its own wall hanging, similar to the eagle. I'll just have this out during the Easter season or whatever. Then I've also stitched the Love Letters one and plan on stitching the school one, the October one, the Christmas decorating one, as well as these are all Tiny Modernist, which I bought right off their website. They just released a figure skating or ice skating mouse. So I'll do those for, is that right? September, October, December. That'll still be 5. Anyway, I'll figure something out. But that's the idea, to have a spring, summer wall hanging and then a winter, fall wall hanging. So maybe Easter and Valentine's will just be their own standalones. We'll see. Those are my finished objects that are moving toward fully finished, but not there. So moving on to my works in progress. I have several pieces, but I only really worked on 3. I do have 1 start. So the 3 little pigs. This was a kit that I bought from the UK. I think I actually paid more for shipping than I did for the kit. But it was the 3 little pigs. I had to have it. Come on now. I'm just going to stitch the pigs. I'm not going to do all the extra. I really just want the focus to be the pigs. There's a lot going on in here. I guess they're trying to convey wind, the blustery wind from the wolf blowing. But I am just stitching the pigs, and I have finished the bottom of the blue pants, finished all the yellow and his feet, and then started on the peach. So made some good progress on that. It's just fun. Might notice a theme with my stitching. I like fun things, nothing too serious. You know, even the samplers that I've done are on the light side. I have Sambray Stitches Pacific Northwest sampler, and then I have one that is the alphabet, and it's LMNO pig. I'll add a picture to that. So yeah, I've done a lot of serious stitching in the past, and maybe I'll pick up some things, but mostly I like lighthearted stuff. Life is hard. All right. The next work in progress is what I'm calling the Wellerman piece. This nautical piece was in Cross Stitcher magazine, and they did it as a lampshade. I am just doing it as a wall hanging standalone. But my grandson loves the Wellerman song. I will spare you my singing, but it's a hearty, fun sailor song. I don't know, but so I just charted out the words and added them to this nautical scene. I'll lose some of the features of the stitching, but that's okay. So last time I showed it, I had a few words left to do, so I finished all the words. I added some of this coral, I think the star here, the starfish, and maybe just some other little pieces. Finished out the I don't know, I guess part of the lighthouse. So worked on that. I definitely want to have this done by the end of summer. So we'll say by the end of August. I want to have this done by the end of August. And maybe, well, we won't be too ambitious. Progress on things, but maybe this finished by the end of August. And my next progress and work in progress is Alaska. So we are going on a trip in this summer. Jean Farish is going on a cruise, basically the same route that we'll be going on. However, she's going to be doing it in September. She's definitely someone that I would go on a cruise with. You know, Sheila and Jean and I don't know, a few others, just to learn and have fun. Jean was somebody that was being talked about way back in the 80s when I worked at the craft store. She was somewhat of a celebrity. So she's just got a wealth of knowledge and just a wonderful person. All right, so here's Alaska. These are Sue Hill designs. This is the basic pattern, and then this person, Susie, something with a K, has added different additional icons for the state of Alaska. So I have made progress. I finished my ice fisherman, which he came out really cool. I did the totem pole, the flag. I added 2 more of the cities. It came with Fairbanks and Anchorage and Juneau, and I added Skagway and Ketchikan because those are stops that we will make. And then the cruise ship here, I'm going to stitch the name of the ship that we'll be on, which is Encore, I believe. So made some progress on this. I want to keep stitching on this across the summer. It's an easy stitch. I mean, the water, getting bogged down in the water and the shape was interesting. So that's when I want to think. I do some of that stitching, and then when I want to do the other fun stuff, I do the icons. I want to stitch it while we're on this trip too, just to kind of seal the memory. I enjoyed the stitching, enjoyed the place. Yeah. So those are my progress or works in progress. I do have a start. My start was, here's my tuna pink bag. I just dumped something on the floor. This is what my projects stay in. Anything that I'm actively working on, I just put in this and carry it around the house, around my car, whatever. But so I do have a start. Last time I talked about wanting to pursue personal peace, just as an effort to, like, it's a crazy time in the world. I just wanted to think more about peace. And I talked about doing a dove quilt block. And I decided I don't want to cut any more fabric right now. I, don't want to start a quilt block project. Maybe one day I'll do this, but it's not what I'm going to pursue right now. So what I did was I went online and found some counter cross stitch pieces with doves. And I purchased several. So this is Lizzie and Kate. It is originally part of a Christmas set, and I just tried to take it out of a Christmas set. It came with a little charm, which I will put on this piece. But I found this piece of linen from way back in the day. Like this is literally 80s linen that I had in my stash. And I just stitched it up. It's almost done. I originally thought I would make a needle book. You know, that's why I placed it this way, to make a needle book. I might do that or change my mind. I think if I make it a needle book, I might like throw it in a container and not see it as much. So I might just do a little hanging ornament or pillow. Anyway, this is my effort at thinking about peace. And then I found this. This is a dove that I had stitched a couple of Christmases ago. It was going to be a ornament. And this is just a self-drafted pattern. Very simple. It's got Algerian stars on his belly. Yeah, just trying to think more about peace in this crazy time. And that brings us to, while I bought this pattern from 123 Stitch, online store 123 Stitch, which they have a YouTube channel now. They're doing some cool things, I noticed. And while I was on there, I also bought some other piecey kind of things. So I bought this, which is obviously is not a dove. It is a cardinal, which I love cardinals. It says peace on earth. Obviously a wintry theme. I live in the Pacific Northwest now, and that is one thing that I missed. There's several things I miss. I miss baseball. I miss a good hard thunderstorm, rainstorm, and I miss cardinals, birds. Anyway, I plan on stitching this one in like November, December. The feathers have a beautiful pattern in it. So more thinking about peace. Maybe I'll stitch something about peace through the end of the year. I don't know. And then so this was Cottage Garden Sampling. I will probably, I'm not a linen stitcher. My eyes don't do linen very well. This little piece has been okay. I think I counted 24 count. But generally I stitch on 14 count Aida, maybe 18 count, and then I stitch in hand. I don't use a hoop. I use a hoop for embroidery, but not for counted cross stitch. So my other purchase, my acquisition at 123 Stitch is Keepers of the Pen by Brenda Gervais. And this is a really sweet booklet. This is 2022. She has used the inspiration of this clamp with a bird on it. Apparently stitchers would use that. It's an old-time tool sewists would use to hold their piece. And that's what she used to create this piece, which reminds me of a dove. I don't know if it's a dove, but I'm calling it a dove. So that's the piece I want to stitch. I'll probably end up stitching some tomatoes too. I have a little collection of red tomatoes, as probably a lot of us do. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if that's a better picture. But yeah. So that is another piece, dove thing that I want to stitch. This is a beautiful booklet though. It's the photography is beautiful. It's just very piece rendering. Here's a collection of sewing tomatoes. Yeah. Keeper of the Pens. That was a 123 acquisition, 123 Stitch acquisition. And then I have a few other acquisitions that these two were also 123 Stitch. So in my whole beach theme with the whale and the Tiny Town Seaside, I wanted to stitch some other pieces. So this is Croquet a Go-Go, the little cat, and it's a fish for the black cat. I have this all kitted up. I have the threads pulled, the fabric ready. So this is ready to go whenever I am. It's got, and then this was my most recent. This is Sandy Swine. Got a pig on the beach. I have a thing for pigs. And look, it's got crabs. I'm big into crabs lately, more on that later. And this piece is one of several pieces you can do to make a long piece. You've got a cow, sheep, horse, chickens, and pig. It says beach day. And this is the pedal pusher, but I will just stitch the pig. and you can stitch it just a pig, the bottom half, or do it with the crab, or you could actually do 2 pieces. Do the pig as 1 piece and then do the crab and say something on the top. Anyway, I'm always changing things up. That's just how my brain works. 2 more pieces, another crab. These I got at Acorns and Threads. I live within driving distance, a short drive from Acorns and Threads. So this is Crab Dance by Tiny Modernist. This is also kitted up. I have the threads ready and fabric ready. And I have my little, this is my little travel project bag. I have, this is silk screen fabric that I use instead of vinyl. It still needs a handle, but this is what I put these little projects in to throw in my bag and take traveling. So what's in there right now is this one, Seaside Frill by Heart and Hand. Very small, but again, just adding to my little beach collection. And this pattern fits right in here. I've got my threads here and scissors, little snips. There's that. Okay. All right. So that is my counted cross stitch floss tube segment. Moving into my sewing and quilting endeavors. I made a commitment to try and convert the pattern from Needle Love's Americana, that was a quilt block that she turned into a counted cross stitch piece, and now I'm turning it back into a quilt block. And I did it years ago, and I'm challenging myself to do it again. I lost that pillow, so I made some progress on it. I have the 2 sections done. This uses Y seams, so I've sewn the 2 sections. I'm going to sew the center in one, and then I'll join all of them. Since it's Y seams, that's kind of how you do that. So I have that ready. I just need to put the blue band, and I'll include a picture. The coloring of mine is a little bit different. They did red, white. They did red and white on these parts, and then did the navy at the small little triangles. But so I've changed it up a little bit, and I'm gonna see if I can do it. Challenge myself. When I get this done, then I want to try to create the same pattern using half square triangles, stitch and flip. So not doing any Y seams. And my goal, my lofty goal, if all pans out, my lofty goal will be to share the pattern for each on my blog. I have a blog. It's kind of neglected at this point, but hopefully I will get some more time on it. I do a lot of writing, and have done a lot of writing. I'm currently working on very sidebar. I'm currently working on a novel. I hate to say that word, a story about quilting that has a, it's a murder mystery quilt thing, which sounds so cheesy when I say it. But I read some different quilt books, where quilting was supposed to be part of the theme, and I just got inspired to do one of my own. So anyway, that I was considering putting some of that out on my blog, just to kind of see if it floats. I don't know. Anyway, bunny trail. So this is something that I'm working on in quilting, trying to get this, figure out this pattern, and hope to share it once I get it done. All right, and tulips. I'm working on I showed last time the tulip quilt. I had the rows done, and now I have my rows all sewn together. This is the pattern from Apples and Beavers. Yeah, this is paper piecing is part of their pattern. I didn't want to do paper piecing, so I just found a way to do my own without it. And so I just need to add the border on. I have the border cut and ready to go. So, and then my plan is to quilt it myself on my little, with my little walking foot, some simple quilting, probably just straight line quilting, across, horizontal. So made progress on that by sewing my rows together. I have the suitcases pattern that I'm working on. This was something that was gifted to me by a sweet friend, and it has, so I have my sashing and border, and what the progress that I have made on it is that I have pinned the sashing to the 4 rows, and I'm ready to just zip, 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 and then join them. So pinning is, I'm calling it progress. I do things in, what do you call it? Chain piecing. So I get a lot of things ready to stitch. And then when I'm at the sewing machine, I can do a lot of stitching. And then I do a set of ironing. And then I do a set of trimming or more pinning. So that's kind of how that's my process to getting things done. So suitcases is moving along. The other piece that I mentioned in my previous video was I have these Missouri Star blocks that I had completed, which was just going to be, originally the plan was just all Missouri Star blocks. And then I saw these panels on that Quarter Shop website, and I knew the coloring would look really great. So I put those together. The panel was such, I had to add a border around it to get it the size that I needed to go with my stars. This fabric is from a, well, some of it is just stash, but this fabric was part of, it was called like American Beauty or something like that a couple years ago, which I have a big quilt done with the Missouri Star and a star, Missouri Quilt Stars, Missouri Star quilts. It is Missouri Stars Quilt Company's double image, it's called, and it is a Missouri Star within a Missouri Star. And I'll show a picture of it. So I have that quilt top completely done. But while I was making those blocks, I kind of went a little crazy and like, let me try this, and let me try this, and let me try this. So these were some that were hangers on. I was going to do something with it, like a wall hanging to go with the quilt or something. But now this is going to be a door banner. I'm just going to keep it long and make it a door banner. I have a border that I'm going to put around the outside. And then this will be something that I quilt also. I have plans to spend my sewing time for a couple of weeks just doing quilting. Basic machine quilting like this, the tulip, whatever. So that's my plan. We'll see what happens. You guys can hold me accountable. All right, and then my other projects that are moving forward and kind of stalled out is I have this bear paw. This was one of those challenges. I wanted to do a small bear paw. I like the bear paw and just wanted to do, this is again some of that same fabric. I just had pieces and scraps. So I did a mini little bear paw. It was bigger. I had a couple of border bands around here. I didn't like it, so I trimmed it down. I'll probably make sunglass cases or scissors cases with the trims, but so this just needs some binding, which again I have it. I have a lot of navy binding right here ready to go, so I hope to have that done by the end of the month. And then the next thing that needs binding, and I know I'm not alone in binding procrastination. Coriander Quilts talks about it, and many people talk about it. So, but the other piece that I need to do on the binding is this wave. I call it my flag quilt. This is a curved piece unit. This is an extra block that I made. And then so it's laid out strategically so that you get the flag appeal, flag presentation. So this needs bound again. That's all I got to do. It's actually not that hard once you get to doing it, but I think my brain, and then along with many people, I like the creative part, and then once you get to the labor part, it's less fun. But I will, again, my goal by the end of July is have this bound. This is using layer cake, 10-inch squares. You use a template, and then just, again, lay out the design to create the flag that you want. Any flag could, whatever your colors are, your school colors, the colors of your state, the colors of your country, whatever you want to do. I also did this same pattern in a coastal seaside version. I'll put in a picture, and that one didn't come out exactly like I wanted, but it's okay. It's just, a throw to go at the beach. I think I'll put a lightweight denim on the back, so if you take it to the beach and get it a little messy, it's not that big a deal. I had a friend who said I should do a class on this, which I can. If there's an interest, I could do something like that. But it is using curved piecing, and once you get it figured out, once you know the formula, the secret sauce, it's easy breezy beautiful. Just a bunch of those, and then you add them to create the pattern you want. All right. Oh, I was going to say on the Civil War quilt block, she used to design, her name is Renee Naneman, something like that. She used to design counter cross stitch pieces, and now it looks like on her website, Needle Love, it looks like it's quilting and needle punch. So if you are a needle puncher, I know that's a hobby that's gaining popularity, then she's your girl. It's called Needle Love, NEED 'L, Love. She's in Gervais, Missouri. Quilts and punch needle. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't see any counter cross stitch on there, but she used to do counter cross stitch, design counter cross stitch. All right. And I have a note here. I have a plethora of patriotic pieces that need quilted. So there's too many. These are going to be my focus pieces to finish by the end of July, but maybe next year or sometime I've got to pull out some of these little mini quilt things that I've done that are patriotic and just go crazy quilting them, making bags, making table toppers, making mini picnic blankets. All right, and then so another project in my sewing aisle, so an update I guess is I'm working on the elf coat. Insert picture. So this was the inspiration, and I had wanted to do some, when I last showed it, I needed to do the envelope method on the yoke, the internal yoke. So I did that. The envelope method, the burrito method. The burrito method is something that you do with yokes. They also do it when they make the pillowcases, the customized pillowcases. They use the burrito method. So I have that done. I chose to do gathering in the back instead of a pleat. And then I had wanted to do, some intricate stitching on the pockets. That was going to be the big focus, intricate stitching on the pockets. However, with my sample piece, I've tried stitching, and I stitched in the mushroom several times and pulled it out, tried another method, stitched it, pulled it out. I'm not liking how it's coming out. Because this fabric, it's a denim weight, and because it has a slight nap, I believe that's the right terminology. Think of corduroy, only much smaller. And so because of that, I cannot get a good, clean stitch the way I want. I tried the dragonflies. I've tinkered with it and I haven't really got the results that I wanted, and so I'm not going to stitch on the pockets. If it's not, I'm not going to go to that great length and have it look not as sharp as I want. So I'm not going to stitch on the pockets, but what I have decided to do is do some running stitch with this color where top stitching would be. Since it's elfy, woodland elf, top stitching might look too sophisticated, so I'm just going to do a running stitch, which I have done on the back here, but I think that will be cool. And I have the pockets done, so they're ready to sew on, and then I will sew on the placket, and then the sleeves, and then the collar, and then buttons and buttonholes. So that's progress on that project. And the other thing that I've been sewing, we've got crabs. Where I work, we've been doing this crab theme with the idea that we know that sometimes coming here makes you crabby. So I sewed up some crabs from this pattern, Simplicity 9S9570, and in different beach themes. And then I sewed a patriotic one with this fabric I got this from Fat Quarter Shop. Love it. I originally bought it, I thought I was going to do some binding. I thought it would look cool on the bias, to, you know, cut it on the bias and use it for binding, which I still may do. I might even do it for the eagle. Anyway, so I made one with this. I'll insert the picture. And basically what we're going to do is just give one away a month. So this is the July one. I've been sewing, someone asked me to make them one, and so I'm sewing a solid blue one. And it's all ready. Let's see. It's all ready to be stuffed and sewn. Sewing the legs inside the body and then turning it out, because you stuff the legs first, that's been tricky. But I can say that after making multiple crabs, I figured out the special formula to make it less of a challenge. So that's what I've been sewing on, the patriotic crab and then this blue crab. And my Tula Pink butterfly quilt is as you saw it last time. It's still hanging up in the hallway. I have to attach left wing and right wing to the body, and then the upper and lower border. I am procrastinating on that because once it's done, I don't want to fold it and put it anywhere, because when I get ready to have it quilted, I don't want to re-iron it. So I think I might just go ahead and finish, bite the bullet, and send it off to the long armor before the end of the year. I thought I was going to do it like early next year. So no progress on the Tula Pink butterfly quilt other than thinking through what I want to do. And the Hyde Park quilt kit, which is within my site over there on the floor, that came in. Let me grab it, hold on. Anyway, the Hyde Park kit came in from Miss Domestic. I have no idea why I can't say that. Miss Domestic. Domestic. Quilt kit came in from Miss Domestic. I'm so sorry. I really am. I'm so sorry. Brain damage is not your friend. Anyway, the quilt kit came in. I'm not going to start anything. This is just sitting and waiting in the wings. I'm not going to start it. I do, however, once I figure this out, you know, color placement is key here to get the effect that, you know, just looks, the effect that interests me anyway. So what I want to do is do this quilt kit as in, you know, intended, and then use the same concepts to create a Christmas quilt using Tim Holt's Elements palette, the red and green palette. I think that will look really cool. It'll be like the Christmas, the edgiest Christmas quilt you could see. That's my idea. So this should be really simple. Looks like there's a lot of cutting, and then once you get it cut, you know, zoom, zoom, zoom. and then focusing on layout. So this will be something that I start maybe September. I don't know. Anyway, this is sitting and waiting in the wings though, but that is my haul. So there's that. Let's see. Okay. The last thing I wanted to share was what I've been digging in my sewing room. So we've all got those things that we really like. So I have a few things here. One is my kitty cat pincushion. We've got the, you know, I imagine if you're a sewer, you have several kinds of pincushions and magnetic pincushions or whatever. This was in a Halloween magazine a few years ago, and I've made several of these and given away and all of that, but anyway, I made a new one with this fabric, what's it called, Moroccan fabric, and yeah, I've got stones in the bottom that my son and I picked up from the coast when he came to visit. So anyway, it just makes me happy. I can't think about it like I'm stabbing a kitty cat, but it's, yeah, it just sits wherever I'm sewing, and so this has been making me happy. This was the pattern from, like I said, a Halloween magazine, and it was in the magazine. It was actually as a pin cushion, and it said, you know, isn't it fun to make pin cushions in the theme, or, you know, for the different holidays. So that I've been loving lately. I've been loving my lint roller. This is something I try. So when I'm sewing at the machine, I take a sheet and just lay it next to the machine, sticky side up, and then I just drop my threads on there. So it kind of creates a little curled boat, and I just drop my threads on there, so it's, you know, sticky. It catches them, and then I dip and throw it all away. So that's something I've been digging lately. Two more things. This is from Dritz, D-R-I-T-Z, and this is a gnarly little blade for cutting those threads. So this is when we have to frog, take out stitches in counted cross stitch. This is nice because it's just a really sharp blade in there. I use it also with machine embroidery, and then we used it this week on disassembling a mold for a toy. So that is something I'm really digging. It comes with the cover, has a nice little click on it, so it's not going to slide off easy. So for safety, been digging that. This I love. This I got in, I think it was Missouri Star Quilt Company's Christmas box a couple years ago. So this is, they call it a blade saver. You put your dead rotary cutter blades in here, and then you can use it to, when you're chain piecing, to cut threads. So I love this, and my grandson likes to, when I have a string of chain piece, he likes to take it apart with this. So sometimes I just stitch things and have them sitting around so that he can do that. So been digging this. This stays out. And this, oh, this is something that I received in, I think it's Sunny Path. Yeah. Sunny Path Fabrics on Etsy in the Advent box last year. And this is just like a little bobbin holder. So it holds them snug. You can pull them out, but I have the little screwdriver that goes with the blade saver. I have my zipper foot. I have my little wrench. So anyway, this I love. This stays by my sewing machine, and then I have the blade saver right in the middle. So those are some things that I've been digging in my sewing room, my sewing space. So if you wouldn't mind letting me know in the comments below, what is something that you've been digging in your sewing space or sewing time, or in your world in general. Yesterday was the Sisters Oregon outdoor quilt show, like the 50th anniversary of the outdoor quilt show. And I couldn't go, but I've seen some videos on it. It looks really, it looks fun. And I think that it gets bigger and better every year. And I think that with YouTube and QuiltTube, if we're going to call it that, it just makes it more fun because these quasi-celebrities from YouTube are filming there, and people can meet and greet. And so, yeah, adding another element to all the quilts. So happy for that. There was one other anniversary. I don't know. Somebody said, is it Log Cabin? Quilt Block Day? I'll have to check on that. Somewhere I saw that it was Log Cabin Quilt Block Day or something. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, by golly, happy Log Cabin Quilt Block Day. I like log cabins. I've done some interesting things with Christmas quilts with log cabins, but they can get, they're involved. So I haven't done a big bed quilt with log cabin. Alrighty, that is all on my list. So thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I hope that you will consider liking, subscribing, or at least leaving a comment saying, hey, I watched till the end. I'm a little baby channel. I do not do other social media platforms, so YouTube is my one and only. And if you would be so kind to share this with your friend, or word of mouth, whatever, if you find it interesting, that would be great too. All right, I don't think I have anything else. I hope you have a wonderful day. Today is July 13th, and I wish you well. Deuces. Hi there, one little PS. I forgot to mention my t-shirt. This is my Till Valhalla Mental Health Awareness shirt. And the back says, grow through what you go through. That's pretty good advice. So Till Valhalla is something that I am passionate about as a military veteran. So if you're a veteran, give me a shout out in the comments below. Tell me what branch. And thank you. Thank you for service. Take care.